Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me? I've pressed start. Adam, thank you for that. Oh, right. Yes, lots of yeses. Okay. What I was I was talking for quite a long time before we actually pressed record. And Adam, I didn't realize you had to press record for it to start, but thank you very much indeed. It's easy, isn't it, to put these things out there and then be ever so glib and sort of careless about people turning up. But honestly, my expectation of these things is always cross your fingers. So I'm really amazingly grateful, not only for Andre for giving up his time, but also for you guys. There's quite a lot of you in now, over 30, which is quite nice. For giving up your time as well. I'll just very, very briefly, a bit of housekeeping. The first one is, if you don't mind and you've got the capacity to turn off your Gmail and your email client and your Twitter and Facebook and all that, that'd be great. That'd be really, really good. And just to say that I am Nathan Wrigley. I'm from wpbuilds.com. You can see a link at the top of this slide. We're a weekly WordPress podcast, but we also do a weekly news bulletin, which comes out on a Monday. That's all that I'm going to say about that. But we've got Andre here from Project Huddle. If you've not heard of it before, he's going to explain how it all works and so on and so forth. And again, more housekeeping. The chat on the right-hand side is for just chat, basically. But if you want to ask a question, if you actually roll your mouse over the video and then scroll down, there's a questions area. And if you wouldn't mind putting a question in there, we can answer them at the end. That would be the best place rather than posting them in the chat on the right. Also, there's a little poll. It's just a bit of fun, really. A few of you have taken part in that already. I appreciate that. And also at on the final tab, the third one, is Andre's very kind offer. He's giving you guys for attending a 20% coupon code. Basically, you click the green button and it automatically gets applied to the cart. So without further ado, hi there, Andre. Hopefully we can hear you. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You are more than welcome. Andre, if it's okay with you and okay with everybody else, I'm just going to hand it right over to you. And I'd appreciate it, guys, if you could tell me whether or not you can see Andre's screen. I can, but I'd like to know if you can as well. Perhaps just a yes. That's lots of yeses. Okay, I'm going to assume that that's working. So, Andre Gagnon, the floor is yours.
Awesome, thank you so much. So I kind of wanted to, the reason I wanted to do this webinar today is first for people that are current Project Huddle users that might want to get more out of Project Huddle and know a little bit more about how it works. And at the same time for people that have never used it before and just want kind of like a basic overview. So the reason I created Project Huddle, I used to run a freelance business and I found I was paying quite a bit of money for all these SaaS microservices. So for every part of my business, I had a different monthly fee. And the biggest problem with that is if for some reason I couldn't pay or I decided I didn't want to use the software anymore, I didn't have access to it, I didn't have access to my data, and worse yet, I couldn't white label or customize it in any way. So I decided to create Project Huddle, which is a self-hosted white label solution for getting client feedback. And WordPress being my favorite platform, I decided to make a WordPress plugin. Simplest form, it's like sticky notes on your designs and your live website projects. But there's a lot more to it than that, so which is why we're doing this webinar. And I think the first thing that I want to start with is my favorite feature, and that is website commenting. What's awesome about Project Huddle is just because it's a WordPress plugin doesn't mean you're limited to only WordPress projects. You can connect any type of website and get live feedback on it. Whether you're using another WordPress site or Drupal or even a hosted solution like Squarespace. And today I'm going to show you how to use Project Huddle on a hosted site like Squarespace. So I've already set up a free Squarespace site here, and I've already installed Project Huddle on a WordPress installation. And a lot of people, when they install the plugin, they'll either install it directly on their freelancer agency site, or they might create a new WordPress installation just for client feedback, like a project subdomain or something. So right now I'm just using it on my local host, but it could be anywhere. So to add a new website, I go to the Project Huddle menu and I click New Website. And I can just enter the project name at the top. And then it's just going to ask for the website URL. And I'm just going to use the temporary one that Squarespace provided me, but we can always change it later if we decide to go live. I should also mention too that today I'm going to be using the beta version of the software, which should be releasing very, very soon. So if you are a current Project Huddle user, you should see a couple new things here that might excite you. So step 2 is installing the website install code. And it's just copying and pasting this little snippet on any website you want to connect. So I'm going to copy this. And I think on Squarespace, it's under Settings, Advanced, Code Injection. And I'll just place it. Oh, looks like I already put it on there, but we'll save it again. And I can see after I hit save, the Project Huddle widget is loading on the Squarespace site. And what's super cool about this is not using Squarespace to power it. It's using your WordPress installation. So all your branding and everything is consistent throughout all the sites you're connecting. So let me just leave my first comment here. Simple as that. Point, click, leave a comment. So I like to, when I send websites over to clients, I like to leave a few notes on things I want specific feedback on. I think a few months ago, I did a webinar on client feedback, and I think the worst thing you can do is send over a site and say, what do you think? Because that's opening up sort of like a feedback loop that may never end. What helps me in my experience is asking them specific questions and pointing out specific things you want feedback on. And that kind of scopes in the revision process. So one way I do that is by pre-adding comments to a site before I send it over. So a big question I often get is, what does this look like from the client's perspective, and how do I share a website project with a client? I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So there's a few different ways that you can provide access to a project. Right now, you must be logged in order to see the Project Huddle interface. So if I'm a client and I load the site, I can't see any comments or anything, and I can't leave comments. My favorite way to give access to a client is through the project access link. So I'll click this, anyone with a project access link, and then I just need to share this link with the client. And oftentimes I'll just write a personalized email, with specific things I want feedback on, and just send them this link and they're good to go. So if I'm a client and I visit via this link, you can see it automatically loads the Project Huddle interface over the front end of the site. And as a client, I can leave a comment. Oops. When I do that, it's just going to ask me for a name and email address, since we haven't identified the client yet. So let's do that. Use the old test@test.com email address, which I hope is nobody's address. There we go. So I can leave a comment. And once I'm registered as the client or Roger, I don't need to re-register. So I'll stay sort of logged in to Project Huddle. So if I want to leave a different comment, I don't need to do that again. I can just leave a comment and I'm already logged in. So that makes it kind of nice and easy for clients onboarding. They don't need to worry about, ahead of time creating an account for them, hitting an activation link, anything like that. It's sort of nice and seamless. I'm going to switch gears for a second. I think there might have been a question, but I don't know how Okay.
There was a question, Andre, but it
Awesome.
wasn't a question as such. It was just somebody
Okay.
saying
Okay, great. Because I don't want to.
we're
Every time I
good.
switch back,
I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted.
Tunnel.
Yeah, recursive.
Just want to switch gears for a bit and show you what a project looks like with more comments and kind of show you a couple other features. I'm not going to get too in depth with it, but I just wanted to show you a few things that I really like. So what's really cool, let me reload this page for a second. Thinking about how Project Huddle works with an agency or with other people or even with clients, you know, you want some ways to assign, resolve comments, and even look at the comments that you have specifically assigned to you, or maybe some that are unassigned. So in this little widget, there's this icon that shows how many unresolved comments are on the page. So I can see at a glance, there are 2 comments on the page that are unresolved that I need to check on. I click on the button, I can see both of those comments, and rather than search throughout the page to find them, I can just click on one. It'll lead me right there, and I can see in context exactly what the comment is. Additionally, with comment text, there's also browser information, which is super useful if you're debugging things. So you could see the person's browser here. I don't know if you can read it, but it's Chrome, the resolution, they're on Mac, and then there's additional info like the HTML element that was originally clicked and the CSS selector that was clicked. So you have all the information you need to see what they were seeing at the time, because sometimes they might report an issue that you don't necessarily see, and it might be browser specific or resolution specific, so that helps. The other cool thing you can do is assign specific issues to a person on your team or back to a client if you want feedback. When you do stuff like this, like assign or leave comments, everybody gets notified, or the person who's assigned gets notified on email, and you know, people can keep up with the conversation. So I can assign this to some other user, and then I can see it's assigned to them here. And then if I want to look at, let's say, comments only assigned to me, I can limit those here and just knock off the ones on my list. Or if I want to see if there's any unassigned comments, I can do that too. So let's say this comment is complete. I've fixed this issue. I can just hit resolve, and the comment goes away. See, it's gone. But if I want to go back, I can just look at the show resolved, and I can always get back to it, but sort of hidden by default because it's not really relevant anymore. The other thing on this comments panel, which I find really helpful, is this pages tab, which will show you all the pages on the project, how many comments there are on each page, the progress of the page, showing how many resolved comments. So on this one, I can see there's 2 unresolved comments. On the About page, I can see there's 3 unresolved comments. So I can easily click through and just go right to the page and see which comments need to be dealt with. Yeah.
Andre, quick question, if that's all right, from Lawrence. Lawrence wants to know what happens if the tagged component is moved or removed? Does the linked comment move or disappear with it? Yeah, so what happens if the tagged component, when the tag comes, so what I'm assuming is, let's say, for example, that the client has tagged something and perhaps you remove that
so
div
we tried
or
to make it really smart.
What happens to those bits and pieces?
It will try and find the best match. So if you change, well, let me just show you this first. So the way that it finds the location of the page is through whatever HTML was clicked. So in this case, it was that location. But if you end up changing this to say something else or something similar, it'll look on the site to try and find the best match for the content that was clicked. The reason we do that is we don't want to have it specific to like an XY coordinate on the page, because it really depends on your screen size. And then additionally, what if we move this section down? We still want this comment to be relevant here. So there are some cases where if you completely change content, then this comment will just appear sort of up here in the upper right-hand corner, and you'll see that it's no longer there. But that's what this additional information is for, so you can relocate if you need to. That only happens if you're completely changing a section, and even then it can still sometimes find its way. So that's a really good question, and it's something that we try and make a balance between, making sure that it's fast, mobile compatible, and then at the same time, if we change parts of this paragraph, it'll still sort of find it. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that does. I think in my case, the way I would use it is I would send that link over to them and wait until they'd done their comments, and then ask for them to, maybe contact me to say, right, we're done, and then I'd go back in, and hopefully in that case nothing would have moved. So yes,
awesome.
we'll mark that one as answered.
So one more thing I want to share you on the front end before we dive into a couple other things. Besides sharing the project link, if we just want to share this comment link with somebody, we can do that too. And there's it's just a permalink to the comment. And if we share it with like somebody else on our team, and they open it up in their browser, it will automatically, as soon as my internet loads, automatically scroll and locate the comment for them so they can see what we're talking about. There's no, you can share specific comments as well, which I think is super helpful for somebody that might not necessarily be in the project right now, or, you want, you're using something like an email or something else to give an update or something. So this is sort of how the front end works. There's a lot more, but I don't want to bore you with like all the settings and things that probably wouldn't be super cool to do on a webinar. But there is this, if I'm logged in and I have permission, like I'm a project administrator or an administrator, I can manage the project from the back end, which kind of gives you a bird's eye view of all the pages and all the comments on one page. So I can see all sort of everything at a glance, including, if I click on one of these, I can see all the information I was talking about earlier. I can leave a comment where I can assign somebody to.
Would that comment, let's say that, for example, you left a comment there, would that then appear in the little bubble next to the, when they clicked on their little circle, it would appear below
yep,
on their site.
So it works
it's not
the same
generating an email or something, it's appearing on the site itself.
When people leave comments too, it appears in the bubble and they'll get an email. So, if they're not looking at the site currently, they still have a notification.
Yep. Yeah, David makes the point that it's quite a nice audit trail, that you can prove, I guess, that no, we agreed on this, whereas telephone conversations.
Yeah, for sure. It's when I use it,
that's a really good
often
point.
helps justify, if there's increase in scope, a client can literally see all the things they're asking for. So it's not like an email where they just send it off and forget about it. It's always sort of there, and they can see all the work you're doing. So if they end up getting an invoice or something, it's no surprise because they're asking for all these changes.
Yes, very good point.
Yeah, no, keep it now.
I've got a few more questions if you want to take them now, or would you rather carry on? Okay, so if this doesn't knock you off track, then you might want to answer it. If it does, tell us and we'll delay it to later. Ashish asks, can you show us the branding function? I'm presuming he's meaning,
for sure.
how we can make this, have our logo and so on.
There's this whole other mockups portion, which, some people want feedback when the website's live, and some other people want, feedback, let's say on a website wireframe, or even something completely different like photography, and the branding is consistent throughout the whole thing. So you can kind of customize it on mockups can have its own logo, so you could have your your logo with maybe something that says like mockup feedback or image feedback. And websites can have a different logo if you want, or they can be the same. As far as branding, there's, you can choose your brand color.
Okay.
Upload a logo for all login forms, and then when you get emails, that they're branded as well. Actually, probably should have pulled up an email, and I'm on a local site right now, so I don't have access to emails, but it's I'll show you the login page too, so you can kind of see that. But it's all sort of controlled through these settings panel, so you can. These are the sort of the basic ones, and then mockups have a little bit more control over like the whole interface, including approval buttons, backgrounds, etc. Which
actually, would you mind just going right to the top of that page?
Sorry,
just
I get excited about it.
Just scroll it quite slow, and we can just see. Yeah, and then anybody watching this on the replay can just see. I mean, you've taken care of everything.
It might be a little overkill on mockups, and some
every
people
UI
might
element,
be more comfortable just using custom CSS, which is, something you can do super easy through the, the customized menu, or through a child theme or something. So.
Okay, so the long and the short of that is, Ashish, that it looks to me like you can customize just about everything to make it look like your own brand. Would it be fair to say, Andre, that if you bought a license, there is minimal or
from
zero
the client's perspective, there's zero
branding?
So, like if you're the administrator, you'll still see this Project Huddle in the menu, but you can, of course, you can change that too. There's just no setting for it. You could do that through a translation program or something if you wanted.
Yep.
But the client would never see, the settings page, for instance. That would be terrible if they could do that. So they from when a client registers, they only have access to basically the front end of the site, and then their profile page if they want to change their password.
Okay, great. All right, we'll knock that one off as answered. Thanks a lot. Do you want some more questions, or do you have more things you want to do? We've got a few more, but we can happily wait and get those in at the end.
Because it'll be real quick. It won't be as long as websites, because a lot of it's similar. So
it's good.
Let me just show you one last thing. So on websites, there's, if you go to the website page, you can see this progress here. And mockups are very similar in that you can see the progress of how many images are approved and the status of the project.
Sorry, just to be clear, a website is a live actual website, whereas
a mockup is a static image.
I'm guessing
you don't have
JPEGs
PDF
and
support
PDFs
yet,
and things like that.
In the works. So it's anything that you can display on a WordPress site typically. So it's PNGs, JPEGs, that kind of thing. So yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'd like to see this if that's all right.
Of course. So
mockups. Yes,
it's similar
to see this, I think, as well.
Website page, and I've just set up this project. And this is just a sample project, but this could be anything. In this one, I'm using like mockups of a website, but people use this for all sorts of things, like photography approval or logo design. It doesn't have to be like website designs. It can be anything that you can turn into an image. Absolutely, it could be a.
Yeah, it could just be like a list of fonts, couldn't it? Just
be a style guide.
Text,
whatever you want.
So different fonts. What do you like best?
Yeah. So you can add any number of images in the project. There's no limit. And then since it's this nice branded presentation, we want to give you kind of control over everything, so you can arrange the images into whichever order you want. And then with each image, there's some options. So like in this case, we're doing website design mockup. So I don't want things aligned left or right. I want it right in the center. Perhaps if I had a different type of website layout, I want it aligned to the left. I don't want it to scale because websites don't really scale the same way images do. But I could do that, if I'm doing like photography or something. I can adjust the background color so it matches the design on a per image basis or globally, or even upload an image and select image options too.
Does that background image, is that basically just the full width of the viewport?
Yeah, you could do that. You could do like a very subtle
add a little bit of
branding,
branding or something.
and you could tile it.
Yeah.
Like there's options here to tile, or you could do, you know, sort of anything you want.
Yeah, I can imagine some kind of,
for sure.
I don't know, tiling effect of just something to make
And
it pop out and look less bland than plain white. Yeah, got it.
A logo that works best on a white background versus a black one, or something to do that. And then there's, you know, project options too. So similar to website project, you can control access. So right now it's anybody who visits the mockup link, but you could do that access link I told you about. You could require a password. Like, let me just do that for testing. And don't ever use password for your password, by the way. Yeah. I do it all the time on local.
We've all done it.
But, and then there's additional options, which I'll go over these really quick.
Yeah, clients.
You know, going over settings, I feel like does not make for a good webinar, but okay.
Actually, I disagree in this case. I think I'm nerding out on what I can actually achieve.
This just allows
it's
non-users to self-register and make comment actions. So I could share this with somebody and I just want them to see the comments, but I don't want them to comment on things. That's an option. Email sharing, there's a share button in the mockup project that people can do without opening up their email client. I can upload, if I upload retina images, this will scale them down so that they look nice and crisp. We can let the client download the image if we want. So like if you're doing photography or something and we want to let them have the original, we can do that. There's zoom controls that are optional. So if somebody wants to zoom in and out of the image on the mockup screen, and some of this doesn't make sense now, but it will when I show you the project. And then there's granular control for approvals and unapprovals. So I can, if I uncheck unapprovals, it's once the project is approved, they can't unapprove it. But if I have these checked, then they can go back and forth. Yeah, yeah.
Untick that box.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I've got that the right way around.
You know,
people unapproving and then reapproving.
Depends on who you're showing it to, right? So at least there's that audit trail. So let me just show you look on the front end experience. So I password protected this, so even if you're logged in, it'll ask for a password, which is kind of cool. So yeah, so this is that logo, the branding I was talking about.
That looks neat, very clean, very nice.
Your brand color.
Yeah, yeah.
So then you get these, what I think people like most about this is these cool branded digital presentation of designs. So you have your logo, you can change all these colors, and then it looks just like, in this case, I made it look just like they were looking at a website. And when a client comes here, it's very apparent what you're supposed to do because there's this little tooltip that follows them around so that they know all I have to do is click and leave a comment. Right? So it hopefully should be super simple and easy for people.
This is very, very, very cool.
Let me just go over a couple of the controls first, and then we'll go back to questions. And then maybe I'll show you one more thing, and then we'll go back to questions. So there's this project images, which kind of shows you all the images in the project, and you can click to each one if you want to just navigate quickly. And you can also sort by if you just want to see the approved images or unapproved images or all images, and this will update real time, which is kind of cool if you're a photographer and you want to, I don't know, see how many images a client has approved. You know, if they have a limit, they can look at it there too. And then just like websites, there's this comment panel, so I don't have to search for comments on the page. I can just click and it goes right there. And leave comments. The other thing that's kind of hidden is there's formatting options too. You can add links and bold and all kinds of stuff. And then there's this cool image extension that has not been released yet, but we hope to release like very, very soon, where you can attach files. And this works both on websites and mockups, so that they can. Well, of course, beta doesn't work, but websites and mockups where there's they can add images right into comments. So if they have, let's say on websites, there's an image they want replaced, they can just upload it right in the comment. But like I said, yes, exactly. Like
so the client can say, no, let's have this
exactly
instead,
right.
upload,
and like I
you
said,
get
it's
an
not
image
released
in your
yet,
comments that
obviously
you
it's
can
not working
download
right
again.
now.
Great.
But that's the idea. So that will be released very soon, and I think that's one of the most requested features. So I wanted to mention that it is in the way. And then there's just like the websites you can resolve comments, and as you navigate, you can see how many comments are on each page up here in the comment panel. And then there's options to share the project, and this we can send to anybody, and it will send them this link to access the project. Additionally, you can share individual comments just like on websites as well that way, or just if you want to copy the share link and do it yourself. And then there's the option to download the image, and then there's account settings here too if you want. So what happens, I guess, when a client has requested a bunch of changes and we want to do a new version of this design? How does that work? I think is another common question. So let me just go back to the project, and what's kind of neat about it is you can add different versions of things. So on this home page, you can add, let me just show you, I added a few versions here. You can go back in history and see all the different versions, and even restore a version. If we decide, okay, we actually wanted this design instead, you can do that. So in this case, I'm just going to add a new version quick and kind of show you how that works. We'll say this doesn't really make sense, but we're going to add this image. When I add it, I can see there's a new version pending, and I can resolve all the existing comments if I want, or if I want those comments to persist on this new image, I can keep them. So you have the option to continue the conversation or restart fresh with a new version. So I'm just going to resolve the conversation. Hit update. And this is really a good test of the beta because I'm doing it live. So yeah, I can see the new image. Here's the previous image.
Good luck.
Right? We could restore it if we want.
Yay!
And everything should just work. I think we'll restore it because that didn't really make sense. So that's pretty much it. I could show you a lot more, but I don't want to kind of overwhelm with all the plugin settings and all that. So I think maybe questions would probably be a good idea.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. First of all, what a great plugin. I mean, I've played with it and had a play, but I haven't delved into it as deep. I really haven't used the mockups at all. Fantastic feature. And another thing, the UI is beautiful. I don't know if you've come up with that all by yourself.
Awesome.
It's really nice. It's very, very, very tastefully done. I love it. Okay, so what I would say to everybody listening is, if you've got any questions, just please scroll below the video, and there's a questions tab. That'd be great for you to put your questions in there, and we'll answer them as we can. And then if you have been in any way persuaded by Andre that you'd like to get this, then there's a button in the offers tab you can click, and it will automatically knock 20% off your Project Huddle subscription. Now, I don't know if that's a 20% for life or if it's a 20% for
there's two options.
First thing, but perhaps
sure. So there's two options for
quickly.
Purchase. There's a lifetime purchase option, which
you've gone quiet.
It'll get you 20% off. It's a one-time purchase, so that's pretty self-explanatory. And then
Andre,
there's a yearly
I don't
one.
know if you can hear me.
20% off.
Yeah,
the
you're
first
back.
year, but
We lost your audio
have
for a minute. You're gonna have to start that again, I think.
It sort of sets you up to automatically do it, but it's super easy, to cancel, and resubscribe or whatever you decide to.
Okay.
Cool. I should also mention that because we're self-hosted software, there's no opportunity for a free trial or anything like that. So we have a 30-day money-back guarantee too. So if you decide you just want to try it out,
Yeah. Okay, that's great. You've cleared that up. That's fine. Okay.
We don't really ask any
Right.
questions. If you want a refund, we'll just provide it. So that's kind of how we deal with that. Yep.
Oh, okay, very fair. Very fair. Thank you. Right, I'll go through the questions then that we've got and see what we can make of these. So Neil has asked, could we have the facility to add comments? So this is more of a feature request, but I'll ask it anyway. Could we have the facility to add comments
Yeah, so there
to the client
is,
task
we are
list,
working on
i.e. Trello or Wunderlist, i.e. some comments
we do
are
have
quick fix and
the
others
very
require more
basic,
work and need to be
Trello
scheduled and added
integration
to the task
on
list.
the
So
WordPress
can we add
repository now,
comments to the
but,
client task
it
list?
only
I
works with
confess I
mockups
don't
at the
quite
moment.
understand that question because I'm
And
not
we
a
really
heavy
want to
user of
build
this, but
something that's
Andre?
sort of more all-encompassing. So that's on our roadmap. We're still trying to hash out what the best project management systems are to use. Trello seems like kind of like a no-brainer because it's free and very flexible. But that's the hard part, is trying to figure out what people are using and what to build. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I know. What everybody uses is not what everybody uses,
Sure,
is it? The ones that are mentioned here in the comments are obviously Trello, Wunderlist, Asana has been mentioned, and obviously Adam has mentioned maybe Zapier. I think that's how you pronounce it, because it kind of connects to everything, but there is a cost for that. But yeah, okay, that's great. So it's on the roadmap, and if you've got any queries about that, maybe just reach straight out to Andre. Okay. All right. Next question then is
that's
from
a good question.
John, and John asks: Is the commenters login persistent
the first time, they get
if they come back the next day or leave more comments? What if they use a different device?
And they can
I'm
click on a
guessing
link
it's
to just set their
cookie-based.
password.
Probably not. Is there a conflict? Is there a
If they
conflict
go on a
to
different
try to
device and they
comment
try
with
and
the
use the
same
same
email address?
name and email, it just gives them a friendly reminder that they've already been registered, and they can then log in. So it's just one account, per email address. So if they use a different email address, it'll just register them with another account. So it's it'll let them know if they're trying to do something, and hopefully they'll understand that oh, okay, I need to log in, and it gives them a quick link to do that. Of course.
Yep. I guess it's like anything else. You've just got to coach the clients in how to behave when they use it. To teach them where it is. Quick little video of your own. Teach them where to go to log in and how it works, and it'll be easily done. So I'll mark that one as answered. Great, thank you, Adam. Very helpful during this podcast. Sorry,
custom post types.
Thank you. He says it's Zapier, as in happier.
If you're a WordPress developer, it should hopefully
it is. Okay, Bernard, who has also been on the podcast.
There's nothing to learn if you want to customize
Bill's
it.
podcast, like you, Andre, is
you
asking the question: How is the data stored? Is it a custom post type? Question mark.
WordPress hooks so that a new comment is saved, you can do an action just using the WP insert comment action or filter. So nice.
Okay, Bernard is a developer. If it's the Bernard I'm thinking of, he's a Pods and Beaver Builder kind of guy. So
so you just want to
update
the URL
one, so that's great.
On the website page, so you can see.
Okay, the next one is from Marianne. I hope I've pronounced that right. What happens if you? Good question. What happens if you move the site, say from live, from live dev to live and so on? Does the URL? Well, what happens basically?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so right now the only add-on is
Okay, so real simple, copy and paste new URL, press save, press update, and you're done. Great, good to know. That's a piece of cake.
So
okay, the next one is from Ashish. What are the add-ons? He's
hopefully it'll work
asked.
this time. Here we go. So, and as you can see, now it's switched order. So we're still in beta with this one, which is why it's sort of delayed. But
okay.
Well, hopefully it'll be ready to go by the time it launches.
Yay! Boom.
Well, first and foremost, I wanted to pull it out of the main plugin because it's a feature that I want it to be optional for people. Because I know a lot of people wouldn't want to open this.
So is that an add-on which is designed to be for an additional fee, or have you just pulled it out of the main plugin just to keep it slim?
There's a lot of work that goes into this specific add-on. So I haven't decided that yet. I think we might end up doing like a very nominal fee, and if you already have a Project Huddle license, it's just the difference in the cost, which might be like $20 or something. But I think that's the plan right now, but we haven't decided.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, like a lot of other plugins that you've used on the WordPress system, there's add-ons, and maybe in the future we'll get some more as well. That's great. Thanks. Okay, Bernard. Again, thanks, Bernard. Yeah, he's saying with mocks. I'm presuming he means with mockups. With mockups, you have the version feature. Is that possible for websites too?
That's a good question.
Like we did with XYZZY for stage 1, or it's released and we start with admin things for phase 2, which might change some sites completely. To distill that, are we just saying, can we do some sort of reversion back to a previous website? How would that work?
Sort of go back to the old comments, but it's something that we can't do right now. It's not a feature, but I do have it somewhere logged on a roadmap somewhere, so something to consider. But I'm not quite sure how it will work or anything like that. Yep. I mean, you can resolve all these comments if you want, if you're doing a new version, but I think maybe what he's referring to is like resolve everything with one click.
Okay, yeah, Bernard's saying, yeah, he's just resolving the stuff and don't show it, so it just wants things to sort of go away, I think. So, okay, so it's on the roadmap, but it's not quite done yet. Yep. 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 Okay, Adam again is asking, so from an agency perspective, I currently create a staging server for each client project where we build the site. I also have a subdomain, project.example.com, where the intention was to use a PM project panorama tool where clients can track their project, though I haven't yet fully implemented that. So that said, would Project Huddle be best installed on that subdomain, then share from there?
You can see there's project members on the side. Right now I'm the only member, but if there were other people who left a comment, they would get added as project members, and then, or you could add them here manually if you wanted. If you put that shortcode on any page, and a person visits that page, it'll show them only the projects that they're members of. So you can, if you're in a list or like a cool little grid where you can see all the project images, sort of different options. So that shortcode, I think, is a good way to integrate with, if you're using a project management system on WordPress, you can just add that shortcode sort of anywhere, and then it will sort of do the work.
Oh, that's neat. Okay, great.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I see. So essentially, you set up maybe a page like clients or / clients.
Great. I like the client.
They go, and if they're logged in, they get to see their stuff and nobody else's stuff. That's nice. Yeah, that's good. Joshua says, yeah, that's how I've got my Project Huddle set up on a subdomain. That works.
Oh,
well.
yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll mark that one as answered. Right, it's still lots more. Sorry, we're cracking through them though.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. It's,
yeah, they are. They're very
like
intelligent. Thank you, for putting these in.
The access
Marvelous.
token
Right, Marianne again
can
is asking, can you edit the mockup URL?
That consistent, and this is just to give them access. So you don't have to send this access token.
There we go. Question answered.
As long as you have it set to anyone who visits the project.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You need that. Anyone, right? Okay, so it's just a way of keeping out people who shouldn't be there with some sort of pseudo-random junk at the end.
Yeah, I hope we do.
Yeah, okay,
I mean, we're constantly
great.
updating
I will mark that one as answered. Thank
there's
you. David
Millican.
Hello, David. Hi.
Videos,
sure appreciate this webinar, but I am a reader. How is your documentation tutorial knowledge base working out? Do you have good support how-to info?
Yeah, I don't know how many there are, but just a lot of the questions that people are asking right now are sort of covered in here. And then the thing that we're sort of lacking right now is developer docs, which I really want. After we
do that slowly again. We can do a running total. There's about 15 there, roughly.
But it does have some things, like there's some code examples, like you want to do something that's not currently part of Project Huddle, like display a dialog when a user submits a comment. You can just add this to your functions file, and then it works sort of similar, where submit a comment, you could just say, thanks for the comment or something. I usually try and do it within 24 hours, but not on weekends.
Roughly speaking, assuming you're having a good week, how likely is it, or sorry, what's the time frame that you'll get back with a support ticket? Okay, good answer. We'll take that. No, and anybody who's got a life would understand that. That's great. Yeah, good answer. Great. Okay, David, we'll answer that one for you. Right, Vaughan. Hi, Vaughan. Hi. This might depend on a user's connection speed or just a matter of opinion, of course, but would you say it's speedier for users to leave comments and use Project Huddle on a website mockup or an image mockup? I tend to design in the browser, but I'm wondering if it'd be better with Project Huddle for me to upload a screenshot for users to comment on themselves. Yeah, that's a good question. So by default, would you go for the actual website or an image of the actual website?
If it takes longer than the image that you're uploading in mockups, then mockups will be faster.
Yeah, so I think that's what he's trying to get to, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I think my personal preference would always be for the website itself, just because that's the true representation, and I think that's the way that just seems to be. The mockups is an absolutely Trojan, amazing add-on feature, but the actual website bit is
we tried to make it mobile
the best bit, I think. And Bernard says, and the website is responsive. Good point.
It becomes mobile friendly,
so they could even do it on a phone, whereas on not so much.
The same with websites or whatever. This is draggable.
I'm going to mark that question as answered, but I'll let you take it over.
Point and tap to do the comment. So.
Well, that's as good as you can expect. Yeah, nobody's going to argue with that. That was pretty decent. Yeah. Yep.
It's the same. As long as there's one WordPress installation.
Yep.
The license is
great.
Exactly
A good point.
Multi-site, and a lot of people like that.
Okay, Les asks, I presume it will work on multi-site, but how does the licensing work with a multi-site setup with different domains?
So,
all right, thank you. Thanks for that, Les. Next one, we've got 5 more. That's good. That's perfect timing,
like
really.
mockups, all mockups.
What happens, Mark asks, what happens with finished completed projects or mockups, just in case there is need to look back at old approvals, etc.? How is this done?
Of mockups, you can turn off approvals or unapprovals so people can't do anything, or anything more like that. Same with websites, the project will forever be there. Even if you remove the install code from the Squarespace site, the project is still here. You can always re-add it at a future date if you want to turn it back on. So in like the Squarespace example, I would just go back to those settings, remove that install code, project code will go away. If I wanted to re-add it, I would just paste this back in and pick up right where I left off.
Yep. Yeah.
No,
I noticed on the website's
sort of,
initial sort of admin screen, there was an option to filter by status as well. So presumably you could just filter the status to be, where are we? Not that screen. There was another one. Was it in the mockups? Yeah, there was a status one, and presumably you can. It's not sortable by that, but yeah.
I think I understand. I think so. Project Huddle has its own.
Well, there you go. That answers that anyway. Thank you, Mark. Ashish again. Can we have users to handle the client comments? Can we have users
without giving them access to your pages and posts and all that other stuff?
I'll hand that over to you. I'm not sure what that means.
Use one of the Project Huddle roles, so when they log in, they don't see anything except for this Project Huddle menu. They don't have access to anything else. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. There's several different roles, so you can see if somebody project client doesn't have access to anything in the admin.
So basically, you're using the WordPress login system, but because there's a user role of Project Huddle or whatever it might be, they just get that in the menu on the left-hand side, and they can just see what they need to see. Project client, yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah. Four roles, yeah. Great.
Sounds like the same one.
Yep.
But,
oh, that's neat. Yep, like that. That's another little absolute chestnut sitting in there that we didn't know. Great. Okay, another one from Ashish. He says, can we create users to handle client comment? I think that's the same question, was it? Can we create users to handle client comments? Yeah, it possibly was, I think. Sorry, Ashish, if that's not the same question. I'm going to let you talk to Andre.
Yeah, so that's like high up on the roadmap. That could be the next version.
Right.
But,
Ian Bowden says, does your next version consolidate emails so each comment doesn't trigger a separate email and my fussy clients delusions me?
Different service setups and things, so scheduling things can get really tricky. So we want to make sure we do it well and that it works and communications are sent. So
Yep. Okay. So Ian, it's on the roadmap, but I guess as of now, you're buying what you see and hope that Andre delivers. But I think from what we can see, we can pretty much guarantee that Andre's knows what he's on about.
Yeah, Joshua, we have this on our roadmap.
Last question. Perfect timing. Look at that.
I think we figured out
I think currently you may need to reload the page to see new comments. Have you considered integration with Pusher and some sort of front-end notification system outside of email?
Send something to
notifications allow for better real-time collaboration.
15 seconds or so, so it's near real-time, which is probably good enough for a lot of people. And it would refresh certain parts of the screen and let you know if there are new comments without reloading the stage. But that's sort of on the roadmap. We haven't started development. We're sort of experimenting with different solutions because ideally we wouldn't need to use some external system or anything. We would want you know, I don't want people to have to pay for it. The whole reason I created Project Huddle is so you don't have to pay for or not locked into third-party solutions. So I think there's a way we can do it without doing that.
Yeah. Okay. There you go, Joshua. The answer is it's very likely to come soon. Okay, so the queue of questions has been cleared. Unless anybody has anything else to add, I would simply, a couple of things. First one is if you go to the offers tab, oh, the recursive. That's great. Yeah, let's put this back up maybe. If you go to the tab at the bottom which says offers, you can avail yourself of 20% off. And if you buy the, the lifetime deal, then that's it. It's one time 20% off. Good deal. Otherwise, it's 20% off the first year. And I suppose I should thank Andre, all of you guys for attending. So specifically pointed towards Andre. Thank you so much for doing this with us. I really appreciate it. And again, sounds like it's glib to say, but I genuinely mean it. We had quite a bit of fun checking if this webinar platform worked the other day. And it was a bit touch and go for a while. So thanks for sticking with me through that. And then I'd like to thank all of you guys for showing up. And an awful lot of you stayed right till the end, so I appreciate that. So last thing, little plug for me. If you wouldn't mind going to wpbuilds.com/subscribe and subscribing to our podcast, or basically just go to wpbuilds.com and listen to the absolute rubbish that we put out on a weekly basis, that would be great. So thanks. Thank you.
I feel like I need to make a plug for WP Builds too, just because I'm a member of a lot of these WordPress groups, and WP Builds is by far one of the most active ones.
Oh.
And so I think if you're not a member, you should at least check it out.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. Right, at 57 minutes and 24 seconds, I'm going to click stop. So thank you very, very much indeed. Have a lovely day. And thanks, Andre. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.